everyone, I'm Alex and I'm the hands behind Lovecraft Crochet. My plushies are for the anxious, depressed, autistic, and neurodivergent. Small enough to travel in a purse, backpack, diaper bag, or even your pocket. You can check out my Facebook page or TikTok to see what patterns are available and stay tuned for the new ones coming out. I also make hats, scarves, blankets, and dice bags for the tabletop gamer or dice goblin in your life. Feel free to order through the page, TikTok DMs, or via email at love.craft.crochet@gmail.com. Now, on to the segment.
Due to the graphic and disturbing nature of the crimes discussed, listener discretion is advised. Retrostatic Radio presents Killing 15 Minutes.
Hello and welcome to Killing 15 Minutes, where we will give you your serial killer fix in 15 minutes or less, or your podcast is free. I'm Sam Rossi, and shortly I will be handing a poorly written synopsis of a serial killer to my brother, who hasn't read it, on a serial killer he's most likely hasn't heard of. This should be fun. Good luck, bro.
Thanks, Sam. Do you know who the most prolific serial killer in the United States is? With at least 60 of his 93 confessed murders confirmed, Samuel Little has the highest kill count. Little was a career criminal spending time in and out of jail. Little was convicted of breaking into a furniture store in 1961. He was released in 64. Who the fuck breaks into a furniture store?
I don't know, but they should have money.
Maybe, but it was the 60s. Like, early 60s, so like...
No.
No, I mean, it is a furniture store. They probably do have money, you know. Most furniture stores have never been nickel and dime spots. They've been...
large sums of money, so...
You gotta drop $200 to get this.
Our furniture set cost us, plus the TV stand included in that, cost us $1,500.
Yeah, no, it's fucking nuts.
Anyways.
Now we're gonna be just talking about furniture. So, do you find the IKEA... No, fuck it. By 1975, he had been arrested 26 times in 11 states for crimes of theft, assault, rape, fraud, and attacks on government officials. Well, some of those are bad.
It's not a war crime the first time.
In 1982, Little was arrested in Mississippi and charged with the murder of Melinda Lapre. A grand jury declined to indict him for murder. Why?
Not enough evidence, probably.
Maybe, yeah. He would be extradited to Florida and tried for the murder of Patricia Ann Mount. Her body was found in 1982. Witnesses identified Little as the last seen with Mount. However, witness testimony mistrust led to his acquittal on January of 84. Any deep dive into that, or just they didn't think that the was pretty much a crackhead, hooker, turned around and said they saw, and then it was, well, we can't trust the hooker.
Yeah.
Or whoever.
Right.
Little moved to the San Diego area in October 1984, where he was arrested for kidnapping, beating, and strangling of Lori Barrows, who survived the ordeal. 1 month later, cops found him with an unconscious woman in the backseat of his car at the same location. He was served 2.5 years for both crimes. He would move to LA upon his release in February of 87, committing at least 10 more murders. We're on page 2 of 10. We're on page 2 of 10.
I know.
Okay, let's continue this arrest. Fuck, Jesus. Little was arrested in Louisville, Kentucky, I assume?
Yes.
And then extradited to Cali to face drug charges, allowing his DNA to be used to check against known crimes. How many crimes was his DNA involved with? Let's count them out. He was found to be involved in the murders of Linda Alfred, Guadalupe Apodaca, and Aubrey Everett. All three would be found on the streets of LA after their deaths. He was charged on January 7th, 2013 for these from 87 and 89. The first two were in 87, third was in 89. Cops would say a few months later that Little was being investigated for over 3 dozen murders committed during the 80s. And then Mississippi reopened LaPree's murder case. Why did they reopen it? Just because it was thrown out the last time?
Because it was thrown out, they could reopen it, and because he was never indicted for the charges, if they found that he was the one that actually did the murder, they could then charge him with it, indict him, and have it where he can be tried for the murder of LaPree.
Okay. Little would be tried for the 3 murders, and DNA confirmed them in Los Angeles in September of 2014. DNA, past crime, and witness testimony led to his conviction on September 25th, 2014, and then he was sentenced to life without parole. Now, with how much Sissy's been talking about this, this is where he starts singing like a caged bird. While in prison, he would start confessing to murders all over the United States. And that would require an episode just on his post-conviction confession spree.
Which I wrote.
Which we have another episode. Or the same one. We'll see how this goes. Samuel Little started confessing to murders first was the 1996 murder of Melissa Thomas. On November 13th, 2018, he was charged for the 94 murder of Denise Brothers in Odessa, Texas, after confessing that to a Texas Ranger. In May 2018, he would plead guilty to Brothers' murder on December 13th and receive another life sentence. On November 15th, 2018, the Russell County, Alabama DA announced that Little had confessed to a 79 murder of Brenda Alexander. And on November 16th, 2018, Macon, Georgia Sheriff stated that Little confessed to the 77 strangling of an unknown woman and the 82 murder of Fredonia Smith. He would also confess to the 1982 murder of Dorothy Richards and the 96 murder of Daisy McGuire. Both bodies were found in Louisiana. Is this really just how this entire script's going to go? Date of this is where he confessed and this is the murder?
This is where but I do talk a little bit more.
Okay.
I think.
On November 19th, 2018, Harrison County, Mississippi, Sheriff Troy Peterson stated that Little confessed to strangling Julia Critchfield in 78 and dumping her body over a cliff. Lee County in Mississippi on November 20th, 2018 announced that Little had confessed to killing Nancy Stevens in Tupelo, Mississippi in 2005.
That's
wow.
Tupelo.
Tupelo. But that's a U, not an I.
I understand that, but this is Mississippi.
And a grand jury was presented the case in January of 2019. We got a lot of bodies to go through here. Let's not worry about namings. Richland County, South Carolina, law enforcement said Little had admitted to the murder of Evelyn Weston, whose body was found in 78. Little also confessed to the murders of Rosie Hill in Marion County, Florida in 82. How many of these are he actually charged with, though? Okay, I'm sorry.
Keep reading.
On November 27th, 2018, the FBI announced that VICAP, that's the Violent Criminal Apprehension Program, team had confirmed 34 of Little's confessions and was working on confirming the rest. In December 2018, Little was indicted on the strangulation of Linda Sue Boards in May 1981 in Warren County, Kentucky. May 31st, 2019, Cuyahoga County, Ohio, prosecutors announced indictments of 4 counts of aggravated murder and 6 counts of kidnapping. I'm assuming for Little. That would be Mary Jo Payton in 84, Rose Evans in 91, Jane Doe, whose body was found in 83, Anna Stewart in 81. June 7, 2019, had him indicted for 2 murders in Hamilton County, Ohio. My God. My God.
Most prolific in the U.S.
It's because he decided to kill someone in every continental United States.
Probably.
I mean, he's not that far off.
With some of them, yeah.
Little would draw portraits of many of his victims. The FBI, in hopes of identifying victims, the FBI released the portraits, leading to one cold case being solved in Akron. That's it? Really?
Oh, so far.
Okay, I'm sorry. Little has confessed to more than 93 murders, and 60 deaths have been formally connected to him by the police. However, he was only convicted for 8 of these many, many murders. However, Little had to stop singing because Little decided to die. Little died December of 2020. I assume because of COVID, because everyone died of COVID. Yep. Wow, okay. How long was that? Just reading the names of his victims.
11 minutes.
Okay, so I don't know what to say.
You don't know why the Cagey Bird sang?
Oh no,
But
I don't. Here's why I don't know what the discussion on this one would be, because he seemed to have taken pride in the fact that he killed so many people. However, they were able to connect him with the 60 of them, which is shocking to me, because usually when we see people going, you know, oh, I did this crime, this crime, this crime, this crime, this crime, you know.
Yeah. Otis Toole.
They're just either trying to stall for, you know, because if they're on death row, for instance, a lot of people will be like, oh, actually, I killed another person. Their body is, I don't know where it is, somewhere in the woods. It's like, it's only 20 acres of woods you gotta, you know what I mean?
I just did a dude who fabricated a 5th victim to increase his infamy.
Well, that's sort of it. Is like, you have a lot of people who do that sort of thing.
Yeah.
And that's why when you were like, oh, he confessed to a lot, spoilers for our last episode, I believe you lampshaded that.
Maybe, yes.
Or the episode before that, we'll find out. You'll find out before us. And by that I mean you, Sam, because you're editing.
This is true.
But so many of them will, you know, they'll either do it to boost their infamy, or they'll do it because now this has to be investigated so they can't kill him. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
When the death penalty was a major thing.
Back when we had the death penalty in most states.
Yeah. But, you know, they'll do it. But this, they were able to connect him with 60, which is...
Yeah.
What the fuck did he do for a living?
He was a career criminal. That's what he did for a living. He was a career criminal.
Yeah, why'd I ask that? He broke into shit.
He
And then he killed people. Not at the same time, though.
Well,
Or at least so far as... I'm assuming a deep dive would be like, oh, this woman was abducted from her home.
Yeah, I did not deep dive any of his...
That would have been giant amount of episodes anyway.
Right, and I was like... After writing it, I had set it up to be a 2-parter, which... Now looking back, it was just...
Well, if we deep dived into each one...
Yeah.
Then it probably would be a 3-parter. That's just 60 victims.
60 victims.
60 confirmed connected victims.
Yes. Where he's right now still at 93 confessions, and they're still...
Well, they're not getting any more without a Ouija board.
Right. But at this point, his DNA's in the database. As more cold cases are able to get into the database, there's a possibility of more victims of his being confirmed.
Well, that's true. Because DNA and then They have at least a list of 93 people that he may have been involved with.
Right.
So while,
At least,
although I could also see them, that the cops not following up on that because he's dead now.
right, but his DNA is already in the database.
That's true.
So if they get a hit, they can say, "Holy shit!" We can say this person killed your loved one. He is already dead. We can't do,
We're sorry for your loss, but there's nothing we can do about it.
But we're able to give you the closure that we know who did this now.
Yeah.
That sort of thing. But yeah, I wanted to know who the most prolific serial killer was, and
I'm actually surprised. I figured it would be a bigger name that we would know.
I thought it would be somebody I knew too.
But I think it's because most of those were after he was arrested. It wasn't.
Yeah.
It wasn't infamy during.
Right. He could have been.
It's 7:00.
Do you know where your wifey is?
Your wifey's at work.
My wifey should be clocking out right now.
Mine's asleep.
But I think that. But I think
You have a
that
terrible poker face.
I think that because it was during the 2014, there was a lot going on.
Yeah.
I think he only was charged with 3 murders in California first.
Right. And then he was already behind bars. And then pretty much anything after, and this is going to sound bad, and it might be a discussion point for later, but
Write that down.
media right now really focuses on what's going to be the biggest draw. Another person confessing, while that could be big numbers, I use air quotes there for big numbers because even podcast numbers aren't huge.
Right.
Unless you are, you have huge names on there. But it turns into, it's very easy to be lost, especially after 2012, 2014. You had so much news coming out for politicians more.
Yep.
Because now that the billionaires are backing political candidates with their giant networks, it turns into now even local news barely gets through the feed, as it were.
Right.
And I think it's also why, because we saw it in early mid 2000s when the internet was a huge thing. Well, it still is. It still exists. But where you had a lot of people who were trying to be famous for their infamy online.
Yeah.
But once corporate media took over, once they won the big war of who's going to own the soul of the internet, suddenly now in the 2010s, it's all about ad revenue. It's all about, even TikTok, where it's like, you can become an influencer because of a stupid dance.
Right.
It is still corporate controlled. Most of the big name influencers have
Corporate sponsors.
management to some extent, like corporate sponsorship, management that most of them have real jobs that link them to what they're doing. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's very hard to be an indie creator
Right.
that is solely indie. Not saying they don't exist, because again, there are, but for the most part, there's always ways to boost. So now, this dude's confessing from 2014 to 2019 before he dies, but all these other murders, while maybe, the Macon Herald is going to bring up that, hey, this dude said he killed 3 people around here. Cold case is solved.
Yeah.
Or something like that.
It's not going to be like we would see it, not like when Golden State Killer was caught.
Yeah. Or when BTK finally...
When they caught Dennis Rader, or,
Where now because those are bigger names, where it's a bigger news story.
Right. They went, and they also already had a really cool name.
That's true. I think, again, branding is very important.
I gotta say, branding is very important Because some of these guys that I research have no branding. They have shitty ass names if they don't have names at all.
Hell, Brutus, we had to come up with the name for.
Yeah, well,
He's our shoe gremlin.
this is true. We gave him his name. We gave him a little bit of infamy.
Yeah, well, he deserved it. He was weird. So, final thoughts. I got nothing.
60.
60.
60. That's my final thought. 60, man.
Those are low numbers, man. No, that's. Is it because he was bland? But he was able. He was. Think about it. If he was a more psychotic killer,
Now,
like he didn't. Did they bring up?
he did strangulations on a lot of them, so.
There was the mutilated bodies that were found too.
Yeah.
But it's like.
But a lot of them were strangled.
Secretly, I'm going to say he was part of a ring of serial killers. So he was taking credit for other serial killers' work because he had pen pals that were serial killers. Why? Because that's how I would fucking write it.
That's how I would write it.
Because, to me, it's almost frightening. I mean, 60 even 100 people.
He was picked up in Louisville, Kentucky in 2013
Yeah.
on an unrelated drug charge that got him back to California, where he was extradited from Kentucky to Cali.
Yeah.
Then once he was in there, that's where they took his DNA. If he wasn't a career criminal, he would never have been busted.
Right. And again, 100 people in all of America, that's nothing.
It's a drop in the bucket.
Not even a drop in the bucket. That is an H atom on H2,
Yeah.
It is one of two hydrogens on an oxygen in a bucket of water. That is so small because, even on a daily, like, I think it's cows kill like 200 people a year.
Something like that.
Or something like that. Like,
yeah, you should be more worried about a cow than you should be of sharks.
and even then, it's like you should be more worried about cows or horses or deers than a serial killer or even a single person, because most people's body counts are probably not necessarily zero, but low end. Even many famous serial killers maybe don't even have double digits for their body count. So one person say he did do it all and he died before confessing more. He has 100. It's hilariously terrifying.
It really is. And I think that's the problem, is that he is because of his arrest.
He could have easily gotten away with it.
He could easily have gotten away with it. He could have easily kept his mouth shut.
Yeah.
And just taken the single. He was charged with the 3 murders in Cali.
Yeah, he had a life sentence regardless.
He had a life sentence.
So he had no reason outside of, well, if we want to go with this, I've also done all this.
Yeah.
Because, like, maybe it was to boost his infamy. As in, he knew that he did so much more, so it was like, let's actually build that legacy.
Right.
But at the same time, it's like, think about how many cold cases, like, even, 60 confirmed. He started at 3.
He started at 3. That is where you
That is like 30 times.
Yeah, he went from 3 to 60. He did a complete 20% increase.
No, that's not a 20% increase.
No, that's right. It's 200%.
It is a 200% increase.
You're right. It's a 200% increase. And he was still only charged for 5 more.
Yeah.
And you stop for a minute and go, huh.
Yeah, right?
Yeah.
It really is that matter of holy fuck.
Alright.
So that's my final thoughts.
Holy fuck. I'll agree with that final thoughts. I'm Sam Rossi. And AJ's dead. Have it later. Have a later. Exactly. Later, y'all.
Killing 15 Minutes is hosted by Arthur Carey, with scripts written and researched by Sam Rossi. If you like this episode or want to stay updated on this series, consider following Killing 15 Minutes on Patreon or Retrostatic Radio on all major social media platforms. Good night and God bless.
You're watching Retrostatic Radio.
Wheel of Random is turn, turn, turn. Tell us the 15 minutes we shall learn.
I'm Sam Rossi, writer and co-host of Randomly 15 Minutes, where the Wheel of Randomness gives me the topic and I write about it.
I'm Megan Klodnicki, and I'm the host of Randomly 15 Minutes. I cold read what Sam writes and learn in real time about a random topic.
You can find us on all major podcast platforms and YouTube.
Follow us on Facebook at Randomly 15 Minutes to get more random facts.